Okay, when we have a 2 by 2, we don't really need a special method to find the inverse because a 2 by 2 is pretty easy. All we have, it really is just the 1 over the determinant. And then multiply that by, we exchange these two spots. So the lingo of that is the D and the A spot exchange. And then the B spot right there becomes negative and the C spot becomes negative. So none of this is really too involved. So it's pretty easy to find. So the determinant of A is these two, so 4 times 10 minus these two, which is 4 times 0. Okay, so that's no big deal. So that's just 40. So we have, so the inverse of this matrix is 1 over 40. And now I'm going to do the switch. So the 10 and the 4 are going to change places. So the 10 will go up here and the 4 will go down here. And then the B and the C become negative. So that becomes a negative 4 and that stays a 0. So if we multiply this scalar in there, which you don't have to all the time, but sometimes we do, the A inverse, 10 times 1/40 is 10/40, so 1/4. And then negative 4 times 1/40 will be 4/40, so that will be negative 1/10. 1/40 times 0 is still 0, and 1/40 times 4, that'll be 4/40, so for positive 1/10. Okay, so that's really what it is. You could have answered it like this, or you could go ahead and multiply it in. I want to multiply it in because just on this one, I want to go ahead and show that when we multiply them together, we get the matrix inverse. I mean the identity inverse. So remember what's supposed to happen. If we take A inverse times A, we're supposed to get the identity. That's what an inverse is supposed to do. So I'm going to go ahead and try that. So I'm going to take 1/4, negative 1/10, 0, and 1/10 times the original 4, 4, 0, 10, and let's see what we get out of all of that. Okay, it's going to be a 2 by 2, so that should be pretty straightforward. Okay, I'm going to go this times this. So I have 1/4 times 4. So 1/4 times 4 is 1 plus, then I take this piece, negative 10 times 0. So 1 plus 0. Okay, then I'm going to do, I'll change colors here. I'm going to do this times this. So that's going to be 1/4 times 4. So that will be 1 again. Plus, now here I have negative 1/10 times 10. Negative 1/10 times 10 is a negative 1. Okay, now we'll go this times this. So 0 times 1 is 0. And then 1/10 times 0 is 0. So that just became 0 plus 0. And lastly, I need this times this. So I have 0 times 1/10, that will be 0, plus 1/10 times 10, which is 1. And sure enough, look what we ended up with. We ended up with 1001. So that's what identities do. Okay, that's kind of a long, these 2 by 2s don't have to be very, let's go fast on this next one, or I'm going to go fast on this next one. Okay, so I need the determinant. Okay, so that's going to be these two. 10 times negative 5 minus these two. 10 times negative 5. So here I have negative 50 minus negative 50. So I have negative 50 plus 50 is 0. So I have, if I were going to find the matrix, the inverse, it would be 1 over the determinant, and then a negative C, negative B, D, and A. Well, this is going to be 1 over 0, so there's no inverse. Okay, so if the determinant is 0, there's no inverse. Okay, so 2 by 2s are no big deal. That was mostly a review. The bigger deal was these 3 by 3s that took so long. Okay, well, they're still going to take a while, but I'm going to show a easier way to get the determinant. So these we had to do 1 over the determinant, and then multiply that times this adjunct thing. So first of all, let's just go ahead and get the determinant. This is going to be now an easier. What we were doing is we were taking 2, taking that out, and then getting the determinant of that. So we were doing things like 2 times the determinant of negative 5, 0, 1, negative 1. And then the 4. So we did plus, minus, plus. So then minus, and then we do a 4, and cross out the 4 and do it on that. And then we did the 3. Then we did plus negative 3 times its determinant. Okay. There is a little bit quicker way for that. So let me show you the little bit quicker way. What I'm going to do is extend it with these first 2 columns. I'm going to put the 2, 3, and negative 5 out there. And then I'm going to put the 4, negative 5, 1, like that. Okay, here's a little trick. All right, I'm going to take this diagonal right there, this diagonal right there, and this diagonal right there. So I added those extra 2 rows, or those extra 2 columns, so they could get 3 diagonals. Okay, I'm going to multiply all those together and add them up. So I'm going to take 2, so this first one is 2 times negative 5 times negative 1. I'm going to add to that the other one, 4 times 0 times negative 5, and then add to that third one, negative 3 times 3 times 1. Okay, so I'm going to add all of those up. So that gives us here 10, and here it's plus 0, and then here it's plus negative 9. So those all add up to basically 1. Okay, now I need to take this and this and this. I'm going to do the same thing to those 3 diagonals, but I'm going to subtract them. Okay, so I'm going to subtract negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 3, subtract 1 times 0 times 2, subtract negative 1 times 3 times 4. So out here, this ends up to have 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives. So that ends up being positive 75. And here, this is a negative 0. And here I've got a negative and a negative, which is going to make this a positive 12. So now all together, I'm going to take all of those numbers together. So I've got 10 minus, so there's 1, plus 75 makes 76, plus 12, 76, 86, 87, 88. So the determinant of this thing is now 88. Okay, that's the determinant. Now we had a whole bunch of other things there's other things that we had to do now to find the inverse, but that's just finding the determinant part. So I think on this one, let's just concentrate on finding the determinant, and there it is. Well, let's go ahead and finish it. So to do the other part, we had to find the matrix of all of the minors. So I'm going to do that right here. This is a big deal, and it's hard to keep track of, and I make mistakes, so I'm going to try to be really careful. Okay, so first of all, it goes plus, minus, plus, minus. I think I'll save that for later, but once we get them all, we have to alternate the signs. Okay, but let's worry about first things first. I'm going to take this first corner, gets rid of those. So the first matrix of many matrices is negative 5, 0, 1, negative 1. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of that and do this one. Get rid of those, and what's left? What's left is the 3, the 0, the negative 1, and the negative 5. So I've got 3, 0, negative 5, negative 1. And then I'm going to get rid of those and do this one. So that's going to leave a mini matrix of 3, negative 5, negative 5, and 1. Okay, now I'm going to come down and do the next one. So I'll get rid of those. That leaves a mini matrix of 4, negative 3, 1, negative 1. Do this one, that gets rid of those. That leaves the 2, negative 3, negative 5, negative 1. Now I'll go do the 0. It's going to get rid of that and that, leaving 2, 4, negative 5, and 1. Okay, and now the third one down there. Okay, so I'll get rid of the 5. That's going to leave a mini matrix of 4, negative 3, negative 5, 0. I'll do the one for the 1. That leaves 2, negative 3, 3, 0. And then the last one, almost there. Get rid of those. That's going to leave 2, 4, 3, negative 5. Okay, let's see if I can try not to make a mistake on any of these. Okay, so now I got to get the little mini matrices of all of that. So I'll put them right here. It's going to have 9 entries. So negative 5 times 1 minus 0. Okay, here's negative 3 minus 0. So that's going to be negative 3. Here I'm going to have 3 minus 25. 3 minus 25, negative 22. There's negative 4 minus negative 3. So negative 4 plus 3, negative 1. There's negative 2 minus 15. Negative 2 minus 15 will be negative 17. Here's 2 minus negative 20, so 2 plus 20. Okay, here's 0 minus 15. Here's 0 minus negative 9. And here's negative 10 minus 12. Now, I actually think this one right here, I'm pretty sure this was a negative 1, so that should have been positive 5 minus 0. So this should actually right here be positive 5, I think. Okay, then the last little step that we have to do is go through, and that's plus, so that doesn't change, but that one does change. So it's going to make this a positive 3. That one doesn't change, but that one does change, so it makes that a positive 1. Plus, minus, so this one needs to change to negative 22. plus, minus, so this one's going to change to -9 and plus. Okay, so here's the matrix of mini matrices. What we do with that is switch them around. So I'm going to make, here's our final answer. We're going to have 1 over 88. Now this down here is not actually the answer. This down here, so we got to take this row and make it this column, this row make it the second column, and then this row make it the third column. So doing that, so we're going to have 5, let me get a different color, let me stay in black. So we'll have 5, 3, -22, then the red one was a +1, -17, -22, and then the blue one was -15, -9, and -22. Okay, that's the process. Let's see if we can do that with number 4. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is get the determinant, because if it's 0, then the inverse doesn't exist. So I'm going to do our quick little trick and maybe hope for 0, and maybe it just doesn't even exist. So here was the quick trick. I'm going to add on a -5, a -5, and a -4, and then a 3, 0, -1, like that. Okay, so the positive ones. So the things I'm going to add are these. Okay, so I just need to get all of those together. So 5 times 0 times, so I'll do some of these. 5 times 0 times 5, that's 0. 3 times, so it's going to be positive, and then it's 6 times 4, so it's +24. So I've got a +24 plus 1 times 5 times 1, so that's going to be +5. Okay, now I'm going to go I'm going to subtract these. So 4 times 0 times 1, that's 0. So then the next one's going to be 1 times 3 negatives makes it negative, so that's going to be -10. So I'm going to subtract -10 and then subtract 5 times 5 times 3. So 25 times 3 is 75 with 2 negatives. So 7 to subtract 75. So let's see what we have out of all of that. This will, of course, be a plus. So I've got 29, 39 right there. So 39 minus 75. So it looks like -36. Okay, so it's gonna have an inverse because it has a determinant. So there's that part. Okay, so now I gotta find the matrix of the minis. This is the more tedious part. Okay, so let's get her started here. So when I get rid of this one, so it's going to be a matrix 0, -2, -1, -5. So then get rid of this one. It's going to have a matrix of -5, -2, -4, -5. And then get rid of this one. So that's going to leave us -5, 0, -4, -1. And I'm going to go here. Okay, that leaves me 3, 1, -1, -5. Now I need the middle one. That gets rid of those rows and columns, leaves -5, 1, -4, -5. And then the last one's right, whoops, wrong one. This one is going to be the 2, so that's going to get rid of those. So that's going to have a -5, 3, -4, -1. And the last one down here, I take the 4, take out its row and column. That's going to leave a 3, 1, 0, -2. Here's the next one. It's going to take out those. Leaves -5, 1, -5, -2. And then finally, the last one, we've got this one, take it out. Leaves -5, 3, -5, 0. And let's see what we have out of all of that. Without, hopefully we don't make a mistake, or I don't make a mistake. Okay, that's going to be 0 minus +2. 0 minus +2 will be -2. Here's 25 minus +8. 25 minus 8, 25, so it's 17. Okay, this looks like 5 minus 0, so that's just going to be 5. Here's -15 minus -1, so -15 plus 1, so -14. Here's a 25 minus -4, so 25 plus 4, so 24. Here's 5 minus -12, so 5 plus 12, 17. Here's -6 minus 0. Here's 10 minus -5, so 10 plus 5, 15. And here's 0 minus -15, so 0 plus 15 is another 15. And okay, I'm gonna take this one, put it there, and this one, put it there, and this one, put it there. So let's see if we can do that. So I've got a -2. Oops, I forgot to do the positive, negative thing. So this will be positive, that will be fine. This one gets negated though, so it's going to be -17. Positive, this one will be negative, so it'll be +14. Positive, this is going to be a -17. Positive, negative, that's going to make that a -15. Now let's put them in there. So so this red one is -2, now it's -17, 5. The blue one was 14, 24, and -17, and the green one -6, -15, and 15. And I'll put the inverse in front of it. So that was all, the determinant in front of it was 1 over -36. And as I look at it, I think I got this one right here. That should have been 20. That was 25 plus 4. That's not 24. That should have been a 29. So that was really a 29 right there. That's a 29. Okay, there's the inverse. Okay, we have one more. Let's just do the last one here real quick. So here's number 5. I'll do this work right down here. So again, the determinant. So I'm just going to recopy that one. So I got a -1, -1, -3, 4, -5, 3, 0, 6, 6. And putting the first column in there, 1, -1, -3. The second column, 4, -5, 3. And now I'm ready to go. I need those 3 diagonals are the addition ones. So right here I've got -1, -5, and 6. So 5 times 6 is 30 with 2 negatives. So that's 30 plus right here 4 times 6 times 3. Oh gee, let's see, 24 times 3, 72. So it's, and with 1 negative, so -72. And then 0 times all of that's just going to be 0. So there's the positive ones. Now I'm going to take there's the diagonal, there's a diagonal, and there's the diagonal. Those are going to be the negative ones. So right here, 3 times 5 times 0, that's just going to be 0. But here's 6 times 3 times -1. So I'm going to subtract -18, and then this last one, 6 times 4 is 24 times, so it's -24. So I'm going to subtract -24. All right, let's see what we got. This is positive right here. So let's see. Couldn't read my handwriting very well. That was actually a negative right there. So those make plus. And let's see, when we take a look at what we have here, there's the positives. 30 plus 24 is 54 plus 18, so I've got 72 positives. So I've got -72 plus 72, so we have a determinant of 0. Yay, a short one. So the inverse would be 1 over 0 times all that other mini matrix of minis, which is going to be undefined. So this one has no inverse. Okay, that's how you do them. It's a little bit shorter than last time, not too much. We have this little trick to get the determinant a little bit faster, but you still got to do all of this mini determinant thing, which takes a long time.